All right, hello, I'm going to get started. This is Beth Barsness. I am only going to have my video on for a brief bit right in the beginning. My home office is right in the middle of our house, so don't want any traffic behind me. Welcome to our first webinar in our series. I'll be talking more about the webinar series in a minute, but I just want to make sure that you are in the right place. This is the Minnesota Goes to College webinar, and the topic is supporting your students, college application efforts during COVID. So we do have a lot to cover today, and I have with me my co-chair, Klima, who will introduce herself in a minute, and she will also be the person that is kind of keeping track of the chat while I'm presenting. So if you have questions or feedback, could you please send your answers or your questions to all panelists, because then Kat will be able to see them and reply on our behalf. That would be awesome. All right, I'm going to turn off my camera. There's no, there. All right, if anyone's having audio issues, please let us know. Hi, Kat.
Hey, do you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope this finds you well and safe. My name is Kat, and I'm the Outreach and Communications Coordinator at the Minnesota Office of Higher Education. So I am also the co-chair, like Beth mentioned, of Minnesota Goes to College, and I'm really excited that you're here, like I said, and I'm also going to turn off my video. But thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Kat. All right, so here's the topics we hope to cover today, and we'd love to hear from you too. I know you're all muted currently. We'd like to figure out a way to do more of an interactive session in the future, but we have WebEx at our disposal, which is not super user-friendly for that. So we do really would like to hear from you in the chat for some of the questions. We do have a poll that we're going to show in a little bit. And then we will, during the presentation, throw some links into the chat so that you can actually click and follow along on certain things with us. Yeah, so if you want everyone to see your comments and suggestions, then send to all participants. All right, so Minnesota Goes to College has a steering committee behind it, so it's not just Kat or myself. So these are our pictures, this is our contact information. I know it's confusing. We both work for state agencies. We both work for different state agencies. So sometimes it's confusing when you're getting a lot of messaging from us about various events. Kat mentioned her role at the Office of Higher Education is with outreach and communications. And I work for the Department of Education, and I work primarily with dual credit programs. So anyone on the line, if you have specific PSEO questions, you may send those my way. But just as Minnesota Goes to College, just so you're aware that we do have a steering committee of K-12 higher education and nonprofit partners. So we do share a lot of information on their behalf as well. That would be pertinent to school counselors, college access staff, and then of course any Minnesota Goes to College site coordinators. Just a real brief, super brief review of what is Minnesota Goes to College. It's our state's initiative to provide high school students with the preparation, opportunity, and support needed to apply and enroll in college. We do want to emphasize that it's not just four-year college. We really are talking about any sort of post-secondary credential, degree, or training, and just to get students in Minnesota thinking and planning for their future. Most of our initiatives, we have three main kind of initiatives that happen throughout the year on a continuum, so those details are at the bottom. Most of the initiatives work just with seniors, but College Knowledge Month does cover a lot of other grades, and a lot of middle schools also participate. So we usually start in October with College Knowledge Month, move into FAFSA and financial aid, DREAM Act, events and completion. And then in the spring is kind of the focus on Decision Day and celebrating students' hard work and decisions they've made for the following year. Just a reminder to register your site for Minnesota Goes to College. You can register at the link at the bottom. And there's one registration form for all initiatives and events. Not every school needs to do all of them. It's really up to your school or district or building what you want to sign up for, but just be aware, and we always are trying to let you know how our organization supports you and your work. We have several things that are new, and that's a lot of the things we'll go over today. But we just want to get you guys to participate, and we do have a lot of schools that have been registering in the last week or so. So thanks for your patience with all my emails as well.
Hey Beth, is there a way to check to see if someone has already registered?
Yes, I can check. Yep.
But is there a way that they could check themselves, or is it you who has to
sorry. Yeah, you can just email me and I'll check our spreadsheet.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep. All right, so I'm just going to get started with a few announcements for the 2020, the current school year that we are in, which is probably crazy and very, very different for all of us so far. So we'll just start out with some of the announcements, things that aren't as they have been in the past. The outreach presenters that are available through the Office of Higher Education are only available for virtual events this year due to COVID. And then our post-secondary volunteers are not available for in-person events currently. We usually partner with the Minnesota Association of College Admissions Counselors and the Minnesota Association of Financial Aid Administrators, so that's MACAC and MAPA, to provide volunteer connections. But they were uncomfortable, or so far people have been uncomfortable with in-person, and I know that schools are kind of all over the place with offering virtual versus in-person events or not, or even being able to have people from outside the building be in their school. We are working on a way to have some volunteers support your sites virtually. I know it will be kind of a last-minute thing, but stay tuned for that, and we will send out information. There is interest, definitely. It's just figuring out the mechanism to do so. So in the meantime, it would be great if you reach out locally to colleges or past volunteers to see if they're interested in offering virtual support. Last but not least, student giveaways are not available for sites this year. We are unable to get into our state buildings to do such a mailing, and there's also the event that it would not get to the right person at your school in case your building is closed. So those are sort of bummer things to start with, but we have a lot of new and updated things for you that we'd want to cover. First of all, and I will preview some of these as well, the October College Knowledge Month calendar has been updated, and it included a lot of feedback and from our steering committee. We also put a lot of virtual options in there for students and language about virtual events and college visits. An update on colleges waiving fees. I think all colleges are waiving fees for the whole month of October except like 3. So there are a few Minnesota State colleges and universities that are just still waiving that last week, but the majority are for the entire month. And I will point out where on our website to find that list as well, if you're not familiar. We do have a new webinar series for site coordinators, and you are obviously in it, so you are in the know. And I'll detail a little bit of that in a second. And then we will cover a bunch of new online resources to engage students and families, whether you're 100% distance learning or doing some in-person and some virtual events. So it could be helpful. So just a little bit about the webinar series. It's for Minnesota Goes to College site coordinators, as well as school counselors and college access programs that are not registered sites. Definitely share the series with people if you are happy with it and think those people would be interested. We are going to hold them on most Tuesdays, not every single Tuesday. And we will have, it'll be at the same time every week, 2:30. And we will have a lot of college going and financial aid topics, which this will replace kind of our old face-to-face long workshop type training in the past. You can go to our website here. We do have a webinar page. So if you'd ever like to know what the schedule is, we have several that are updated or confirmed, several presentations that are confirmed in September and October. So hopefully you'll see some topics that interest you. One thing I do want to add is that I know you're getting a lot of emails about trainings and virtual events, and we do have, the Office of Higher Ed has some public engagement calls that happen every Wednesday at, I think 10 in the morning. Is that correct, Kat?
Yep, they happen at 10.
Okay, so those are different. We're not trying to be confusing. We do have a lot of similar topics, but Kat and I work pretty closely together, so we are not trying to repeat presentations at all. So the public engagement calls are very, I would say, more informal. Kat, why don't you do a better description of them?
Yeah, so the public engagement calls really, thanks Beth for pulling that up.
Yeah.
So this is our website. It was recently updated. You can actually click to register directly on the site, but it's really to open up a conversation with the community. It's not sensitive. Beth, I can still hear you. You mute your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you can, we can have a direct line with the community to hear how it is that we can help, right? Rather than saying, you know, we have all of the solutions, we have all of the data, so on and so forth. It's really opening up a two-way dialogue with the public and the state and how we can arrive at a solution together. And so these calls, there are a lot of different topics. If you attended one or two of them earlier, we had some really fantastic panel discussions about race and equity in higher education, both from the administrator standpoint and the student standpoint. And they're usually an hour long. Sometimes they can be an hour and a half, which I know is a huge chunk of time on Wednesday at 10, but they all are recorded and you can find them on YouTube. And so if you have, you know, a little bit of time and want to listen to something, you can access it on our YouTube channel.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Kat. So I put the information in the chat for the public engagement calls. And as far as the webinars go, with Minnesota Goes to College, I will send you that as well if you want. We will also record all of these webinars, and we will post slides, like here's today's slides, on our website as well. So I hope that wasn't too confusing to talk about both at one time. Oops. Here's the link to the webinars. All right, going back to the presentation. As always, we want your feedback. We want to cover topics that you are looking for, but we sometimes need your ideas. And if you have ideas for what you want covered or some questions that aren't answered, it would be great to get your feedback on topics and just how we can support you this season. And I think Kat will drop that little survey into the chat that you could answer. I do see a question. Somebody asked, how can we get students engaged in attending virtual college fairs? I will cover that a little bit later. All right, so getting to the meat of the presentation, why does hosting an event during a crisis matter? These may seem obvious to some, but planning for the future does not stop. Even in the middle of a pandemic, we still need to figure out our plans for our future and our education. Students will be graduating this year, most likely, and moving on to college, even if the pandemic is still going on. Investing in your education is the smartest way to deal with uncertainty. Definitely making a plan is good for everyone's mental health. I laugh because I know that when I'm, have a lot of anxiety or feel really uncertain about things, it's helpful to make a plan, even if it's just for tomorrow. And then staying employed during the current pandemic is more likely if the employee has a higher education credentials. We got that from our national organization. Thanks for participating in that first little poll that Kat put up. And let's see who's here and what people are up to. All right, so these are some of the people that are here. And we were curious, we don't have too many people answer. You can still participate if you want by following these instructions at the top. So we were curious what schools across the state are currently doing, especially our Minnesota Goes to College sites. So we do have hybrid is the winner there. And hybrid is pretty popular for events. Looks like people are going to have to plan for a virtual option either way, just no matter what your school is currently doing for their distance learning model. Thanks for participating in that. So why should we plan and host an online or virtual event? And this is mostly for schools who are in person or hybrid and are able to do in-person events. There's limited access to students during the school day, so it might be helpful if you're hybrid to have a virtual event and an in-person event. There will be a lot of absences for students based on quarantine requirements. Post-secondary volunteers may not be allowed in the school, so maybe setting up virtual times for some one-on-one advising. Let's see. Some students may have chosen the option to take fully remote courses and not even go in the school building. And then I put the last one as a question mark. As we're, kind of navigating our way through this, you might engage families who haven't been engaged before. Inversely, you might lose families who have been engaged before just because it is virtual and there's so many options and messaging coming at them all at once, or they might not have access. But virtual, makes it a little bit easier sometimes to participate. People who maybe couldn't come to face-to-face events in the evening might be available to do something online at a different time. So we have kind of gathered a lot of resources for schools to use to prepare students, keep students and families informed, and engage them in college going and college planning activities, and also to celebrate students' efforts and decisions. And as always, all of this stuff is outlined. I mean, I'm going to go through it very quickly, but all of it is on our website at the link at the bottom of the page or the slide. And a lot of this stuff, obviously, you guys are already doing. It's just a matter of shifting how and when and the mode of meeting with students and letting them know what they need to be doing to stay on track. Here are just some real general planning tips for site coordinators when you're planning your events. I think right now communication and your communication strategy is kind of key. There is maybe too much information coming at us via email and on websites, and as we're learning to organize that, we also need to organize our outgoing messages to make sure it's not too overwhelming to families and students. Always let students know of your communication process and how you're going to inform them. Maybe there's multiple modes. Use social media to enhance your communication plan and celebrate students' efforts. I know that social media for a while was kind of on a little bit of a back burner for us because it's hard to engage students that way, but now more than ever before, we can use social media as a platform to engage students and families. We will talk about that in a little bit. Decide how you'll keep a record of student progress in completing tasks. I know you already have those things in place, but keeping track of these things virtually can sometimes be a little bit more difficult when you're not seeing the student face-to-face, able to write things down, doing everything on their computer. It's a lot of digital management, I like to call it. And then definitely the biggest tip is to organize and use what is already available to you. There's no need to recreate the wheel. There are tons of virtual events happening in September and October that will outline, and those are right in the middle of October, or College Knowledge Month. So you can funnel your students into those activities instead of creating your own, with the same information. Right, so here's some tools, and I'll go through them pretty quickly. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat or clarification in the chat, and Kat can help you out with that. All right, so here's some tools to prepare students in the college-going process and help keep them organized. Some of these you may have seen before, but some are new, and I just wanted to point those out to those who might not know where things are on our website. First of all, we do have this brand new college planning workbook, and we have some worksheets and 9th through 12th grade checklists. We will be sharing out these kinds of things on our social media as well, so you could follow us, and we'll talk about our account in a minute. So you could follow us and share those things as well with your students. But I just wanted to preview where these were on our website. So you will have the slides. You can go to our website and get the slides for this presentation, and all of the links are live, so you can click and find these things later. So anyway, here are where the planning checklists are. There's one for each grade, just kind of a bullet pointed list to keep students on track with what they should be doing at that time. College comparison worksheet, and financial aid and college cost worksheet. Some of these are PDFs, so in an in-person world, they would have to be printed out and handwritten on. But we did develop a college planning workbook that prompts people, when you click on it, to make a copy. So you could send this link out to your students to help them keep organized. This is a really awesome document that we borrowed from Oregon. With some great materials, but basically it's a Google, if your school uses Google products or Google Sheets, it's a really great workbook of spreadsheets that keep students on track during their college search process. It helps them keep track of or kind of build their little resume or activity sheet for high school, because those are on a lot of applications. It helps them research and keep track of scholarships and deadlines, general deadlines. I mean, they can use these sheets how they want. There's even a page for passwords where they can enter all their different passwords and accounts. They can compare costs, decide how they're going to make a decision, and a lot of the data from previous sheets will transfer over, so they don't need to write it down a bunch of times. And then there is this great exercise of creating a budget for students who are transitioning to college. So that's one tool students could use during their college search process. I'm just going to show briefly the calendar. That is not it. My apologies. The calendar is under promotional materials. You could use this. It's just an 8.5 by 11 PDF to send to families. This covers kind of the steps of, you know, if you're going to do all of the college exploration and applying in 1 month, these are the steps you would do. And it does include a lot of virtual events and topics. And then again, the free application list, make sure students have that in hand. Sorry, this kind of jumps a little bit, but it's on our website under site support, free application opportunities. You can download the whole list. Every college except these 3 are waiving it for the entire month. Again, these here are waiving it for the whole year. The only institutions that aren't on this list are the U of M campuses, but they do accept the NACAC fee waiver all year for the students who qualify. Some places, curriculum, CCR curriculum and lessons, some places that you could go that have some free options are the Minnesota Career Information System, or MCIS. I know there's a lot of MCIS schools on the call and in Minnesota. The information on their training is at this link. I think they just announced the high school training options, so they could walk you through those tools there. And then there is a new tool that was communicated to us by our national organization called My Options, and it is a portal where counselors and students can interact with one another, and students can also build their college lists and do their comparison and work through some modules. So this is an option if you don't have anything like that at your school or MCIS. It is completely free as well. So that's just a new tool that looks promising. Some other tools to inform students and families and keep them notified of important announcements, steps along the way during the process is social media. Oh, and I think that Kat was going to talk about the slide, so I'll let her take over. Kat, you still there?
I'm still here. Hey. Yeah, so like Beth said, we did take a little bit of a break on social media, but we're back with a vengeance, and we have a lot of stuff that we can offer you. And so what Beth is going to do is she's going to click on this link that we will share in the chat, and we're going to show you a whole calendar that we have, so you can also access it through our website. Beth, would you go back to our website? Yeah, so I wanted to show you where this is. So if you go to the website, Minnesota Goes to College, and then on the toolbar, hit Start. And then go down to Promotional Materials. Thank you. And then here you'll see the Social Media Toolkit. So when you click on that, it will take you to the G drive, where you are actually able to download all of the images and all of the copy or the word captions that go along with each one. So Beth and I worked on this together, but Beth is the designer this time, and she did such a great job. I told her that if she wanted to change careers, we'd be a graphic designer, but she definitely has a chops for it. And so if you don't follow us, please do. So on Facebook, it's just Minnesota Goes to College. And then on Instagram, it's MN Goes to College. And I'll put both of those handles in the chat. But this is just 1 week. So if we're already at Tuesday, but if you want to share and post on your social media channels, we would be immensely grateful. to you because, so let me walk you through it. So it's got, so looking at September 16th on Wednesday, you've got that image, right? So Beth, will you hover over the image? Yep. And say, well, I want to find that image. So then you click on the image, the hyperlink, and then that would take you to another window where you could download it onto your computer. And then right here, see? And then you would go back to this, and this is where all of the captions are. And so depending on what social media channels you have access to, I know that a lot of schools used to or did have a Facebook account, maybe a Twitter. So we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, and you can use them however you want. And we've got them right there. We've got the character count for you, and they all match the image. So this is the second week, and again, that's the third week. So we've got it all the way through November. So if you're looking for really helpful links and resources for your students and their families, this is a, oh, well, I guess we didn't do that last part, but we'll get to it. So if you want some really helpful resources for the students and their families, this is a great way to just have a little boost more on social media. I'm not sure, was there anything else? So you can use it, please share it, and we'd love to see more people follow us. So again, I'll just put that in the, I'll put the handles in the chat right now. Beth, is there anything that I missed about social media?
No, thanks. I did put the our handles in the chat for Facebook and for Instagram, I believe. And again, this is not something that you have to do. This is a choice. If you want to use these, go for it. If you only resonate with a couple of them, go for it. You also don't have to use the content, the messaging that goes with it. You can use the image and say whatever you want if that works for your school. These are just tools that we wanted to have ready for you if you wanted to use them. Simple cut and paste. I think the easiest option would be to share our messages because these are what we're going to post every day. And as you can see, we're still working on it, but we will stay ahead of you because we do have messaging all the way through the 23rd.
Yeah, and the last thing that I wanted to share is anybody who does have a Twitter account, either a personal account or a school account that they use, and they don't know about TweetDeck yet, I just want to make a quick plug for it. It's free, and it's a scheduling, like a social media scheduling tool. So you can actually load the image and the caption and the links, everything that you need that makes a social media post, and then schedule it in advance. So you don't have to go to your social media pages every single day. That can be really helpful. So I'm putting that in the chat. So it's TweetDeck. There's nothing you have to download. It's browser-based. You just go to that website and then schedule it. But it is unfortunately only for Twitter. So if you have a Facebook or an Instagram, I can't help you with scheduling. But it's a good tool if you have Twitter.
Scheduler is a little too advanced for me anyhow. Thanks for suggesting that, definitely. A lot of I think it's easier to reach students with Instagram visual things, and then it's easier still to communicate with our families via Facebook or Twitter. So that's why we provided all of the options. All right, moving on. Another great way to inform students and families throughout the entire year about college-going messages is the texting program. We have talked about it once or twice before, but I've invited Liz Davis on the line to discuss the Text for College program. Minnesota is a pilot state, and they're looking for more participants. Liz, if you are still... Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi, good. I'm so glad you can hear me. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Liz Davis. I'm a principal researcher at American Institutes for Research. And we are, Text for College is a large-scale randomized control study. We're funded by the U.S. Department of Education, and we're testing the impact of a text messaging intervention on college enrollment and persistence. And we are currently in Minnesota and also Alabama. But we are recruiting high school seniors, or high schools first, and then their seniors to participate in the study, in which it's students who are planning to attend a public 2- or 4-year college in the state. We recruit them through just a really short 15-minute survey in the spring. And the intervention looks like what you see on the screen here. And it's just text nudging of breaking down the steps of enrollment over the summer that looks exactly like the tasks that they need to do to complete during the summer to get themselves ready for the fall. And we also, they will also receive text messages during the school year in their freshman year of college to, reminders about deadlines and, reapplying for financial aid and scheduling or applying or registering for courses and those kinds of things. So we are currently recruiting more high schools. We are in quite a few high schools in Minnesota now, but we do need more. If you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and we have a form here. I'm going to put it in the chat. I was looking through the attendee list. I recognized quite a few names, so I think I've actually talked to a couple of you before. But if you're interested in learning more about it, you can go to just textforcollege.com, which we saw on the slide, or I have a form that I just put into the chat, which is also, you can find it on that website as well. My email address is also on that slide, and if you are interested or you need more information, please feel free to email me. I'll put it in the chat as well. And I would love to hear from you all. And I'm happy to answer any questions while I'm on the line.
Thanks, Liz. While you were talking, I think you just called in, or can you see the screen?
I can see the screen, yes.
Okay, so I was just kind of highlighting what schools need to do and showing the website. Okay, thank you. Yeah, definitely put some questions for Liz in the chat. And here is her email as well on the screen and in the chat. Throw it in there. Sorry, I'm a heavy typer, so if I forget to mute myself, I know everyone can hear me typing. All right, thanks, Liz. I'm going to keep moving on. We do have a fair amount to cover still. All right, here's some more new materials that we have to engage students. So this is getting into the virtual events that are kind of flying at us from all different angles and different organizations. So first, we wanted to cover some new videos that were created. And I can't remember, Kat, did you want to cover these for us? I'll click on them and you can talk about them. I'm asking Kat because her office helped to create these. Thank you.
Yep, I can cover them. Yeah, so in the wake of COVID-19, which is a phrase we've all heard so many times, but in the wake of COVID-19, what we decided from the outreach perspective is that we wanted to make these presentations really accessible for families. And so they aren't translated yet. They're only available in English, but they do cover everything that you would hear in a normal financial aid or college knowledge presentation. And so we've got the full length, like 20, I think the longest one is about 30 minutes, like almost exactly only 30 minutes, and then the other one is maybe 25. And so those are the full length choosing a college or college knowledge, excuse me, and then they're all broken up into segments. And so if you scroll down to this why college, for example, why is it important for a student to go to college? And by college, we do mean any type of post-secondary education, not just a four-year university. It's broken up. So that 3-minute segment of why college is a part of the larger one, but we sliced it up because, right, this larger one right here, the full-length one, but we sliced it up because there might be a lesson or something that you're teaching that you wanted to show a student why it might be important, or you might want to explain to students which types, like what types of colleges are out there, career and technical colleges. So all of these, the College Admissions 101, College Matching Fit, Why College, they're all there for you to listen to. They're very short in the short form version. And one of our outreach presenters, her name is Jackie Berry. She's the one who gave this one presentation that we sliced up. So there she is, lovely Jackie Berry. And then if you go into the description, you'll be able to see the contact information for how you can contact their office. This maybe isn't exactly the best. The best if you want to go back to the main one, that's the main long form presentation on YouTube, and then go into the event description. Or, yeah, so there's a whole bunch of resources that we've got linked that will help you and help your students and their families along with the process. And so if you go back to the website, the Minnesota Goes to College website, and you scroll down, the next series is paying for college, right? So the first one, the pink one, is more like learning about college, and then this next one is paying for it, like learning about all of the different ways that you can pay for your post-secondary education. And just like the previous one, right, we've got the one long form video, which is, that's how long is the Paying for College long form one? It's 25 minutes, right? And then so again, it's spliced up into segments that we thought blended together. So if you scroll down, the shorter form videos are Paying for College, Understanding Financial Aid, Understanding the Specific Forms to get financial aid, so the FAFSA and the DREAM Act, and then understanding what the heck you do after the FAFSA or DREAM. So those are some of the videos that we put together for you all, because we know that, at least from our side, our presenters are only going to be doing virtual events. And so if you feel like a live event is something that would benefit you, you can absolutely request it. And our presenters are happy to come to your school and present on Zoom or whatever. But if you feel like people are zoomed out, then you can just show them those videos. So that's all I have, and I will put I'll put my email in, and that's where you can request a financial aid presenter. Thanks.
Thanks, Kat. I also was showing on the website where to request a speaker. So site support, request a speaker, or how you contact to request an office of hire a speaker. And then the training videos are under site support training videos. And someone asked earlier where the free application list was. It's under site support free applications. And the calendar is under promotional materials. I don't expect you guys to remember all of that, but like most everything that we're talking about today that is a Minnesota Goes to College product or support piece for sites is going to be under site support.
That's where you click on site support. Also, everybody, if you just click on site support, and you can look at all of these beautiful icons and decide what one it is you're looking for.
Thanks. All right, back to the presentation. I just wanted to put out that Federal Student Aid and their website here, they also produce some really great videos. So I just directed you to their YouTube site because they have, they have some here. I know they're 3 years ago, but they're really short, and they're about creating your FSA ID, what to do if you forget your username or password. These are all really helpful things that you could send to students and families through your, learning portal or whatever to get these things done. anyway, they have great, very short videos as well, just reuse. So some virtual events. I will get into a bunch in a second. We did create a Google Calendar of events for students and families that's accessible on our website. If you wanted to give them the link to follow that, it's under Get Involved, Attend an Event. So we are really trying to help collect all those virtual events and put them in one place. So I will explain some of these, but they're all in here, and so are schools' FAFSA events. So it's important if you had a FAFSA event that you registered in the spring and now it's virtual, let me know so I can update the calendar. So some people want those on the calendar for their students to be able to access. All right, now on to the virtual college fairs. Okay, so again, there are many different organizations offering different things. So the biggest one that is happening soon and registration is open is the Virtual College Exploration. So this is hosted by MACAC and StriveScan. Here is the link for a student to be able to register. And here's the session schedule. It's kind of awesome. So there's all kinds of sessions about planning for college, specific to, you know, exploring colleges in the Midwest, Iowa, how to visit colleges, choosing a campus outside the metro. Super awesome. These are going on, I think, September 28th to October 14th. So counselors can also attend these. So there's counselor registration and student registration. So definitely let students know about that option. And there's many colleges, not just Minnesota colleges, that are participating in this. Another great thing that I discovered, just kind of poking on their website, from MACAC, and it's in a different location on their website, is called Super College Saturday. And it is specifically a virtual event on a Saturday for students from low-income families or first-generation families. And it is a full-day event. Oops, that is the wrong one. Sorry. It's under programs, Super College Saturday. I was putting the link. The link looks right. The hyperlink is wrong. So, all right. So this is from 11 to 3. A virtual experience. There's all kinds of topics. They can sign up for the whole event, but they don't have to attend all of them. They can just attend the ones they want to. Each session is 45 minutes. So that is a great virtual event for students, and that is on the Google Calendar also. Then we have the National Association of College Admissions Counselors, and they are also putting on college fairs. There are 4 of them. I believe one already happened. Yep, September 13th. And there are 3 left. And they're kind of set up the same way. They have, you know, they're one-day events. They're long. They have many, many sessions people can attend. Parents are invited to attend also. It's free. They help guide students through, you know, what to expect and how to participate. Please ask any questions in the chat. And then upcoming also in October is the Minnesota State Colleges and Universities is going to have a fall Minnesota State Week, which I think is new, but it's going to be highlighting their 37-ish campuses. And this is where you can find information. And we are planning a session, I think in a couple weeks, with the Minnesota Private Colleges, U of M, Twin Cities, and Minnesota State Colleges and Universities to talk about their virtual events for students and how admissions or how counselors can work with them to request like group virtual events for their students or school, and different ways that they can be contacted since they can't do face-to-face tours as we know we've done in the past. All right, sorry, that was really quick. I know we're running out of time. Here are some ways, these are social media campaigns to help celebrate students' efforts and their decisions throughout the year. Again, it's kind of a continuum, but it starts out with September 18th, which is Friday, which is National Why Apply Day. It's a national celebration to kick off the college application season. And you can go to this link for more information. Again, it's a really good way to, get the messaging out to students that College Knowledge Month is coming, why applying to college is important. It's an easy activity, and I'll outline some ideas to get your staff and building on board as well. Next up, I know that different sites in Minnesota celebrate differently or just kind of commemorate that students have applied and finished the application process. This happens, kind of at the end of College Knowledge Month when students have submitted their applications. This definitely varies by school site, but it's a way to celebrate students. I know that we are all pretty creative with thinking of ways to do things on social media and post pictures, et cetera, with these hashtags for each event. And then, of course, I know schools already have done a lot of this, but Decision Day events are in the spring. There is a national celebration called College Signing Day, which is on May 1st. But I know that our own sites celebrate, they don't necessarily celebrate on May 1st, just throughout the spring as students are making their decisions and graduating. So a little bit more about September 18th, which is Why Apply Day. It is a really large social media campaign. An easy way to participate is to post on your personal account or your school social media account, share why you believe students should apply or why you applied to college. Get your building staff involved. This picture is from the State Fair last year. Kat coordinated the Office of Higher Ed's booth to have people participate in the Why Apply campaign, even though it wasn't September 18th. I don't know if Kat knows, but I put ours in here. So this is Kat's, and here's mine. I mean, very easy. I feel like at first when people were asked to participate in Why Apply Day, you had to hold up a little sign in front of you and take a picture, and I thought it just seemed like too many steps at the time, but there is this really easy Google Slide template here that you could send to your building or your students. Sorry, it's spinning and spinning. It's just the slide template. You just throw a picture in of yourself. Doesn't even have to be like mine. It doesn't even have to be related to college. It's just a picture I had of myself. And then why it's important to apply to college. You could generate some ideas for your staff and, make these and have them post these in like Schoology or however they're communicating with their students. So it's just a really quick and easy way to get more people involved. So again, here's some other ideas to engage your school community in this work that is going to be through email and through learning portals and through virtual events this fall. Integrate college and career research into classes based on grade level. Assign or integrate like college essay and scholarship prompts into maybe advisory or ELA courses. Maybe have some budgeting activities in math or what am I thinking of? Sorry, so an elective course that would correspond. Make sure to communicate with your colleagues in your building with a communication calendar and some tasks that you're asking your students to do so they can help to reinforce these messages. And start sharing your ideas for celebrating and building upon, that should say 2021 graduation. Ask staff to participate in these celebrations as well. Some reminders as we're all going through this for the first time. Be kind to yourself. What you're doing is enough. Try not to be overwhelmed. I know that you all care and are trying to help your students, and you're doing a great job. Again, we are all doing things we have never done before, so keep that in the back of your head when you start to get frustrated. These are just a few ideas. I know we didn't cover like the actual like this is what you should do or this is how it should look. It is going to be really based on everybody's school communities and what is happening at the time at their school. You will probably discover or already know of some other ideas, and we really, really hope that you'll share them because we do want to have a future presentation sharing out ideas, and that is what we are going to attempt next week with a focus on FAFSA and DREAM Act completion events. I think those are, I think people can kind of picture in their minds how they might do College Knowledge Month events and applying for college, but I think the FAFSA and the DREAM Act seems a little more overwhelming. How are we going to work one-on-one or, you know, with families like we have in the past? And so hopefully next week we will have people willing to share what they're going to try or ask questions about will this work. And we will also have a financial aid director, one of the outreach presenters, on the call available to answer any financial aid questions that he can at this point. Because the updates haven't come out yet. Those will come out October 1st. So if you have already registered for the series, no need to register again. Just use the same exact information next week. Kat and I can stay on and take any questions in the chat. And thank you for joining us. Here's our contact information, and thanks again.